Hello, YouTube. Maven here from Go Informed. This episode of the Go Informed podcast is a special treat for a couple of reasons. First, it's also a video. This episode was recorded live on Facebook with my friend, the Disney Hack. And I think it's the funniest Facebook Live we've done so far. Enjoy the chat and be sure to check out the links below for the show notes and more fun stuff. Oh, and you'll also get to see my pink pandemic hair. Thanks for watching and for subscribing to this channel. Today, and this, I think, is a brilliant hack, and I've only ever heard you bring it up. So can you tell us why you think this is a good idea and what you can get from looking at the 1-star reviews?
Yes. So this is not just a Disney hack, it's a life hack. I mean, it's worked in so many different ways, but it's one of those things that especially applied to Disney because you have access to all this consumer data, all this, these review sites, whether it's Yelp or TripAdvisor. I personally prefer TripAdvisor. The company that I run, I was gonna say the company I work for, but the company I work for that's named after me because I own it. We do a lot of social media for the hospitality sector. Sorry, this is a deep cut. I'm going way back. And because of that, we spend a lot of time, I work for a lot of restaurants, hotels, conference centers are my clients. And in doing social media for them, we tend to come across a lot of reviews from the popular review sites as well as really obscure ones. And I learned 10 years ago that there's a lot of knowledge to be gained from 1-star reviews, right? As most people know, whether it's Google or Yelp or TripAdvisor, they give you a 1 through 5-star experience. 1 star obviously being a poor experience, 5 being a great experience. It's very subjective. Your 3-star might be my 4-star or 2-star, depending on how my sensitivity pertains to life in general and how I perceive it and go about doing things. Anyway, what I learned when I started doing the Disney hack was that there's a lot of learning for people who are going to the parks, whether it's Walt Disney World or Disneyland or really anywhere, that can be gleaned from reading the bad experiences that people have when they go and then when they complain. This is, I will admit I can't stand it when people complain. We all have things to complain about, right? We all of us, best people in the world, the worst people in the world, we all have bad days. We all have bad experiences. We all have reasons to complain, but nobody's really that special, right? You're just not that special. Stop complaining. However, I want to thank you for being a complainer if you're watching this and you happen to write a lot of 1-star reviews, because we've all been able to learn from your poor experience and your lack of ability to plan better. As planners, you and I, we are looking at every tiny nuance in terms of how can we maximize our experience. And when you read the 1-star reviews, what I got when I did this for the Disney hack and I did it for the one little spark podcast. Both times, it was like this, klaxon siren sound in my mind of just how little people set their expectations appropriately for whatever it is they're about to do, especially if you're going to go spend $5,000 or $10,000 on a family vacation. The most important thing you could do, this is why I often tell people, this is like my number 2 favorite Disney hack. And it's like secret weapon in preparing myself for a really great experience is to set the expectation. And by going and reading what people, you can just tell, we're going to read some 1-star reviews later today. What I want our listeners to look for and to listen for is look at how you can tell just by reading what they wrote, how little they prepared. It's like, well, we went to the parks and we bought, didn't you send me one? You sent me one the other day. I think we're going to actually talk about later.
Oh yeah.
We showed up and
we'll talk about that one.
We bought 1-day park tickets and we hadn't been in 10 years. So we expected it to be like it was 10 years ago when my kids were little, and now my kids are grown and it was crowded. And these are the big 3, right? It was crowded, it was hot, and it was expensive. Those are the 3 big, you're gonna see it time and time and time again. Every now and then it's the cast members are having a bad day and they ruined my experience, which Disney knows, which is why they work so hard. I mean, if you're ever bothered by a cast member at Disney, please go to a Six Flags theme park Stop complaining.
Mm-hmm.
Because I actually went to a Six Flags theme park for the last time in my life, and I the only way they're getting me back is kicking and screaming if I ever do go again. I'm not going to spend that money. My daughter and I got a treat. I think it was a frozen yogurt or something like that, and they didn't have spoons there. And I asked the guy if they had spoons because he didn't give it to me with the treat. And he pointed through the glass window there, and he pointed to the side. And we went around the corner, and there was a dirty bucket with spoons shoved down in it, and it was crawling with flies. God. And that was where I was supposed to get the spoon to go in. So we literally drink the melted frozen yogurt out of the thing because I wasn't about to get one of those disgusting spoons. And when I went to him to say something like, hey, maybe you should clean this up, he couldn't care less, right? So stop complaining about Disney cast members. They have to put up with you complainers, right? All you one-star people that are complaining, the Disney cast with you. So please stop it. So with that being said, I know you've prepared several. I have prepared none, but I'm going to go quickly excuse myself to go find some because it doesn't take much to find this, right? It's like if you're spending weeks preparing your trip, like hours, or let's not even say weeks, let's just say hours, right? Like we know that any proper trip to a Disney theme park is going to require at least a few hours of preparation. And if you're spending all that time researching hotels, researching park tickets, researching, dining options, researching, fast passes, right? Just fast passes alone, I could spend hours just researching fast passes. Take a half an hour. Go to TripAdvisor. Type in the search bar for the name of which park you want to go to. If you're going to go to all four, type in all four. If you're curious about a new attraction, you want to know what the experience. If you're curious about a restaurant and you want to know the experience, type in the name, and it's going to give you the option of all of the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star. Click on the 1-star options and just read through like 4 or 5 of them. You don't have to read all of them, but you're going to get it's going to be a masterclass. Right? How to set expectations. It's true. You can read all the 5 stars you want. Find out how all these people had such a great time and how great for them that they had such a good time. But go read the 1 stars and do yourself a favor because you are going to get deep learning on how to set expectations and how to know what to expect when you go into a Disney park. All right, so I'm done kind of getting us caught up on what we're talking about. Sue, why don't you take it away and tell us what you've discovered, because I have no doubt you found some really interesting ones. I'm going to go find some really obscure ones. I'm going to go do some searches for really obscure restaurants and attractions because I know the monorail's got some great ones. So I'll go find out some and then I'll be right back to share those with you as well.
And I also looked at a few different places to be reviewed. And so the first couple I think here are from Magic Kingdom. So this person, this reviewed in February 2020, gave it 1 star. And I feel like I should read this dramatically. Have you ever seen that? Like the actors reading the Yelp reviews? Truly a disappointment, not nearly the experience it used to be. I would not normally write a review about a place like this, but we really did not enjoy our time here. I've been here quite a few times in the past, parentheses, albeit not in the past 7 to 8 years, which probably means the past 20, really. Let's be realistic about how we remember things. And it has truly become a frustrating experience. First thing is the crowds seem unbelievable. Doesn't seem to matter what time of year you go anymore. The crowds are just too much and appear much more than they used to be. Second, the new FastPass system is ridiculous. You essentially have to plan weeks/months in advance to try and get a FastPass on the rides you want, up to 3 reserved at one time. And then once you use one on a ride, good luck finding any other remaining times remotely convenient and aren't for another 6 hours. Long story short, we only rode 3 rides, all with our fast passes. The rest of the ride standby lines are incredibly long, between 90 and 130 minutes. Couple the long wait times with the throngs of crowds, it makes it a very unenjoyable occasion. Again, if this is the way it always was, I probably wouldn't write this. But the crowds seem more out of control than ever, and couple that with the pretty poor system of being able to access the rides, it's safe to say we will definitely not be back anytime soon. I gotta tell you, I wouldn't go back either if that was my experience.
Yeah, I mean, It's not the same experience it was 10, 15, or 20 years ago. So anybody who's ever gone in the past, Disney has worked very hard to make sure that they maximize every square inch and every date on the calendar. I can remember a couple of years ago, I want to say 2018, we had gone in 2017 and I had started the podcast, and I wanted to go back so bad because I was talking about Disney every week, just like we're doing now, right? It kind of helps, but it kind of hurts, right? Because it kind of makes me want to go back again. But I remember looking at the touring plans calendar, like we've talked about in the past, and I would get on there every once in a while on the app, and I'd kind of scroll through the dates and see what, it had the rating of, like out of 10, if it's a 10 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. And then this week in September, for like 7 or 8 straight days, it was 1 out of 10. It was like the week after Labor Day or something, like, schools were back in, and it was 2018. And I didn't care that it was 95 degrees with 90% humidity. It
Hurricane
was 1
season.
out of 10. Yeah. And I think that was even like the year that Matthew blew through or something. And I was just like, I went and begged my wife. I'm like, can I just go? And she's like, no, you can't go. She knows you're not spending the money. Like, she goes, go get a sponsor. So I started talking to travel agents. I'm like, just give me $1,000. I'll promote your travel agency every day. And none of them were like, $1,000. I'm not giving you $1,000, because I did the math. I'm like, I can go, I can get there, I can stay, I can. I had a friend in Titusville, which is an hour away. I'm like, I'll just crash on his couch, get a rental car or use Uber. I don't care. I'm gonna get to, I was gonna get there any way I could, just so I could enjoy those slow days. And then of course that didn't happen. But and then then COVID happens, and now you've got the 5-minute wait times on the big rides, and then nobody's there, and the slow the low park attendance because of all of that. And people are saying this is a rare time. It'll never happen again. But it happened a week in 2018. It'll probably happen again in 2025, so it'll happen again. But yeah, you just, it sounds to me like those people went Thanksgiving Day or something. I mean, like
they went. Yeah, I know that's true. They wrote the review in February, but it's hard to say when they were there.
Well, they said there was a marathon, so that must have been in January, right? January 1st.
No, that's the marathon is another one I have here, okay. Actually. But this could have been marathon weekend too, or President's Day weekend,
or MLK.
Like, right? Actually, yeah, exactly. So I mean, it does matter. To your point, it does matter. This person says it doesn't matter what time of year you go, but it actually does. And if you're going to go on the weekend at all, first of all, any weekend, or over some kind of break, any school break, or some kind of event going on down there, you're going to have crowds, and you're going to have to plan for it.
Well, it's not as easy as it used to be also, because like New Jersey has a week off in like February, and the parks get busy. England, the British have really random holidays, and they just pack out the park full of British tourists. So we're gonna have there's a fall holiday that we're having for the first time at my daughter's school, and I just know that when the schools are out during that fall break, they it's not Thanksgiving, it's not Easter, but the parks have an uptick in crowds, and if you're not using crowd calendars, you're not going to know in these really obscure things. Not to mention Pop Warner events, cheer events, the marathons, Disney's really, but there are these windows where if you're paying attention, there's like a first week in March is really good before all the spring breaks begin to happen. The parks are, if you can go on a 3 out of 10 day, you can have an amazing trip. And if you're using the crowd calendars right, this park might be a 3 and that park might be a 7, right? Because of something going on at that park, right? There might be an event at Epcot, so you should stay away from there. The next day it's a 2 out of 10, and that's when you go to Epcot. So you just have to learn to navigate all that stuff. But it sounds to me like most people who are writing these 1-star reviews, they don't have the foggiest idea that they can use these crowd calendars to figure out that's a bad time to go. And just one last thing I want to say before we move on is that when I went last, it was New Year's. We went, and every day we were there was a 10 out of 10. We landed on like the 28th of December, and we were there till the 3rd or 4th of January. And we went on New Year's Day to Animal Kingdom, and not only was it a 10 out of 10, but we weren't staying on property. I specifically picked the park days for the parks that didn't have early morning extra magic hours, And between the time I had booked my fast passes and the time we went, they created early morning magic hours at all the parks I had picked for those parks.
Oh no.
So I had to compete with all that, and we still had a remarkable time because I took all the other tools and resources and experiences that I could draw from to make sure that we had a great day and were able to maximize our time in the parks. But we still stood in line for an hour. We just knew we were going to have to, right? Slinky Dog didn't have a fast pass, stood in line for an hour for that. Big Thunder stood in line for an hour for that. But other attractions we didn't, because we were able to kind of maneuver around and avoid all that stuff. But it's just, again, if you know you're going to be in line for an hour, then it's no big deal. But if you're like thinking, it's just any other day in February, couldn't possibly be that busy, and you end up spending 100. You only go on a few rides out of the whole day. That sounds like misery. And unfortunately, you brought it on.
Yeah, you did. So, shall I give you another one?
Yeah, give me another one.
Or you got one there?
I got a couple, but I want to hear one more from you. This time I'm going to pay attention.
So, so this one actually is, I'm picking this because of what you've been saying about setting expectation. So this is actually 2 reviews from the same person, which is an interesting thing on TripAdvisor. A lot of these review sites, you can click the person and see what else they've written. So the first one, this one's also from February. So again, obviously February was busy. Another thing that was happening this February that I don't think people were very clued into, including really me, is the COVID was coming down the pike, and there were rumors that things were going to close. So I think a lot of the annual pass holders were getting into the parks in February, going when they might not have. So February was kind of an extraordinary time. But anyway, okay, so this is for Hollywood Studios. So this is a 1-star. It says, might be good, but you won't know without a reservation, ! We had a 2-day 1-park ticket, and we chose Hollywood Studios since we wanted to see the new Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Well, that was a waste of money. Turns out, if you didn't have a reservation, then you don't get to ride. All reservations were taken by 8 a.m.
Oh, darn.
Whatever happened to first come, first served? So after spending almost $250 for the 1 park for 2 people for 1 day, we got to go on the Toy Story Mania ride, Star Tours, and the Skyflyer baskets. I don't know what that is.
Skyflyer baskets?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Anyway.
Maybe there's something we don't know.
3 rides. 3 rides in 6 hours, 2 of which I had already did in Anaheim Disneyland. Tomorrow we'll go to another park, and we've chosen Animal Kingdom so we can at least do the Avatar ride. Wish me luck. For my money, I do Anaheim, where at least you can go on a few rides and fast passes actually are available. Huge disappointment today. So since this guy said he was going to Animal Kingdom the next day, I was like, hey, I want to see if he reviewed Animal Kingdom, because obviously this didn't go well, right?
It sounds like he has a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah, I think this is a retired guy, because when I looked him up, he reviews everything he ever does. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. So, okay, so the next day, because I was just like, oh my gosh, he's trying to get on Flight of Passage. What's going to happen? So here it is. Disney's Animal Kingdom, 5 stars. My favorite park.
Wow. !
So this is all about expectations. So listen to this.
Yes.
We visited Disney's Animal Kingdom today and stood in a 3.5-hour line to go on the Avatar Flight of Passage ride.
Wow.
I sure am glad we did. It is a true 5D experience with 3D, motion and water spray, wind and smell. We also did the Festival of Lion King, which was an amazing presentation, complete with music, dancing, costumes, and even acrobats. Typical Disney high-quality perfection. I recommend you get your tickets months in advance, then get your fast passes through the Disney app many weeks in advance. If you don't, you will probably get to go on 3 rides in an 8-hour day. That's all we got to do. So this guy somehow, he changed his I am so impressed with this guy because overnight,
He learned his own lesson.
instead of just being like a lot of these reviews are like, I'm never going there again, I'm getting a refund. But this guy, like, overnight was like, okay, this is how it is now.
Yeah.
So we're going to go, and our only thing we care about is we're going to ride that flight of passage if we have to wait 3.5 hours. And luckily he liked it. But, and then
True Avatar fan.
And I guess so. I know it's just an awesome ride. That's a long time to wait, but I could see it. But anyway, you know, since he likes to write these reviews, probably part of the reason he reviewed it, but like he gave that advice. He's like, people, you gotta get your tickets in advance and get on the app and get your fast passes. So this is a really great like success story, I think, of someone who learned from his own 1-star review and turned it around to 5 stars.
Isn't that interesting how so often it's one end of the spectrum or the other? It's never a 3-star or 4-star. It's, you know, it's I had a 1-star, and I think that his experience at Hollywood Studios really set the expectation for Animal Kingdom the next day. You know, he kind of got beat up, so now he knew what he was walking into was a bunch of Mike Tysons ready to punch him in the face. That he got blindsided the day before, and now he was going in prepared. You know, and when we went to Animal Kingdom in January on New Year's Day, I kept thinking, oh, people are gonna sleep in. It's gonna be great. They're all gonna be out celebrating the night before, and they're gonna want to sleep in. The kids aren't gonna want to get up super early. And so we watched Avatar the night before on New Year's Eve, and we made the kids all go to bed by like 10 o'clock. And so that the next morning we would make sure that we were at the rope, but we were watching all these hotel guests just pile into the park. And I was thinking, we're going to wait 3 hours for a rite of passage. You know, if this keeps going the way it's going. Fortunately, the park app was giving me the wait times while we were stuck behind the line. Right. And so finally, when they did drop the line, we only waited 50 minutes in line at rope drop, even though there were a bunch of people obviously in the park already there ahead of us. We went back later that day and waited like an hour and 20 minutes we went an hour before the park closed and ended up, you know, riding it last as well. But yeah, it's, you got to set the expectation, but if you don't know, right, you could end up walking slowly or getting there at 11 a.m. and then, yeah, you're waiting 3 hours for that ride. And that's just the way it's going to be. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that one. All right. So what have you got over there?
Let's see what I got. So one of the things I want to do, I got one I specifically want to share, but I do want to screen share. You see Epcot, the Spaceship Earth?
I do now. Yeah.
Okay. So if you're ignore all the tabs, sorry, I didn't have time to clean up my computer before I started working. If you're thinking of doing this and you want to know, you know, how do I log into TripAdvisor? What do I do? I just logged in. I typed in Epcot. It gave me Epcot. So it's giving me the reviews for all of Epcot. What I want to point out, and I don't know if this is going to increase in size on your end, but what I want to do is I want to highlight the fact that there are nearly 30,000 reviews on TripAdvisor just of Epcot. And if I click, I'll move my mouse around so you guys can see it. If I click on the green area, it's going to take me down to a breakdown. So there's the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Do you see that, Sue?
Yep.
So 5s are excellent, 4s are very good, 3s are average, 2s are poor, and there's 637 1-star reviews. If I click on the word terrible, it should take me to, oh yeah, if I just click on it, what it does is it pre-selects down below. So, you know, you've got don't waste your money. And that's this month, you know, most miserable time you ever had.
Well, you can tell. Yeah, with the mask.
Oh yeah.
Oh
exactly.
yes. I read this one. These guys were mad because they couldn't walk around with their mask off drinking their drink.
Right. Well,
which,
Epcot,
you know,
right?
that's just the way it is. You need to know this. You can't.
I mean, they tell you when you buy a ticket, right, that you have to wear the mask all day long. And you could sit somewhere and take your mask off and drink your beer or whatever you want to drink. But yeah, I mean, this is the nature of these parks right now. If that's what you want to do, go in 2 years, right? If that's what you want to do. And
Yeah.
here's one from July: face mask ridiculousness. Yeah.
Yeah.
A disappointed visit to Epcot. Visit Epcot on March 6th. The weather was good. Now this is pre-COVID, right? I mean, COVID was happening, but the parks hadn't closed down. I hoped. I had just come off a wonderful 4-day Carnival cruise, which I really enjoyed. Now Epcot disappointed me right from the point I entered the grounds. As a senior, I was charged $135. Okay, it's going rate. March 6th is actually a really good time of year to go. I can honestly say it was way too much for what a visitor can expect. Now, let's be honest. Epcot's like 2 theme parks. So $135 is pretty good deal. Now, again, on the flip side of that, half of Epcot's kind of under construction right now, right? And so even on March,
but
March,
the rides are still going.
The rides are going.
It's under construction, but
right. Let me see what he says here. The idea behind Epcot is wonderful. World Exposition, which, I mean, it's a theme park. It's not really, but that's okay. Again, going thinking it's one thing, finding out it's another. But all that I really saw were restaurants and gift shops. Didn't know where to look. Probably didn't even look at the map. To begin with, I paid too much. And then they wanted more money. I really can't believe that people come here from all over the world to visit Epcot. The city of Orlando is very nice and well worth a visit. I like, or he likes Orlando. Orlando's a pit. Save your money. Skip the Epcot theme park. There are better places to spend your hard-earned money. And I would agree to some degree that you should skip Epcot right now, right? I mean, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy coming. You got Ratatouille coming. If you've been to Epcot in the last 3 years, you should probably skip Epcot. There's nothing new under the sun over there. If you're going for food and wine or any of the other festivals, great. Then go and experience all that stuff. If you're going to eat around the world or drink around the world, great. Go have fun with that. Just know you're gonna have to wear a mask right now. But yeah, it's interesting that he's complaining about that for Epcot. I'm gonna do. We got. I like this one.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So we got.
Yeah.
This was also March of this year. Spent a day in February with my 3 kids, and we're so incredibly disappointed. Now, before I read on, I want to set an expectation for anybody listening and for you, Sue. Epcot is the one park where I waited in line the longest for a single attraction, and it was without a doubt 100% worth it. And I would do it tomorrow in a heartbeat without even questioning it. We went to Epcot in 2017. They didn't even have the summer house yet. They were using the museum there in Norway for the Anna and Elsa meet and greet. And my daughter was, I think she was 6 and my niece was 5. And I waited 5 hours in line to see Anna and Elsa. Now, while I waited, they went and rode Figment. They went and rode, I think, Nemo. They went and did a bunch of, my wife and my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law went and did all this stuff with the girls. And then right before I slipped into the building, they came, got underneath the rope and went in. Now, I wasn't getting my picture with Anna and Elsa. But the memories of that, the pictures, seeing the girls' faces, knowing that they got to go and experience the rest of the park while I stood in line for 5 hours was without a doubt the most priceless thing I think I've ever done at a Disney theme park. So, I know how to set expectations, but, these poor people, you're going to take 3 kids to Disney. If you're not there with, other adults that you can kind of, navigate some of this stuff, it's going to be difficult. Our 2-year-old liked meeting Elsa and Anna. That's huge, right? The kids love that kind of stuff. Also like the Frozen ride. And going to Disney with a 2-year-old, did you ever go with your daughter when she was 2?
No.
You gotta really, talk about setting expectations. You got poopy diapers.
Yeah.
You got to stop and feed them every 4 hours. There's it's a lot of work.
It's too much.
They're going to get burnt out and they're going to get cranky. You're going to have a stroller. So there's going to be stroller parking. You're not going to really, unless you have multiple adults, it's going to be challenging to do any of the adult rides. You're going to have to do all kiddie stuff. That's difficult, but it is, but I will say that.
You just have to plan for that. If you want to go, basically you're taking your 2-year-old because you want to go. So if that's the case, then you just have to know that when you're there, you're not going to do the same stuff you did before you had that 2-year-old.
Yeah, it's a whole
just like the
different
rest of your life, actually.
and every part of it. Well, and you can have a great time with a 2-year-old if your intent is to go and see the 2-year-old have this wonderful experience, right?
Right.
Just kind of, I'm not going to read the rest of this. He's got a lot of negatives here.
Oh my gosh.
Y'all just go Google these parks. Okay, so I'm going to, let me read one more and then I'll save the other one for later. This was the monorail. So one of the things that's cool about this is you can look at the tours, you can look at the attractions, you can look at the restaurants, you can look at the restaurants in Disney Springs, you can look at the stores in Disney Springs, you can do all kinds of things on TripAdvisor when it comes to looking at the bad experiences people are having. So you can kind of really get lost and spend a lot of time. You don't want to. That's why you don't want to read all of them, but maybe read the most recent ones, a couple of each, if you're concerned. If you think that there's some, there might be an issue, or you're worried about some unknown variable, go read the 1-star reviews. I thought this one was pretty interesting. I feel. She's talking about the monorail. Kids love it. I feel has to be an easier way to catch disease, though. I don't even know what that headline even means. Each and every time, I hate waiting in giant lines for the monorail. Going at the wrong time of day causes that. It's not the monorail's fault, right? Go get on the ferry or stay at the resorts and take a bus to Magic Kingdom. You feel like cattle. Plus, welcome to Disney World. It's get in line. Get in line to get there. Get in line to get in line once you're in. That's Disney World, right? I will guarantee you will get hit at least once with a stroller minimum. I don't know what that has to do with the monorail. This is one of the things I love about TripAdvisor is you'll find that people will actually review the wrong thing. You'll read a review at a restaurant of an attraction. You'll read a review about a restaurant on an attraction anyway. Limp your way to the overpriced train. The trains don't cost anything, but okay. Cattle pins again. I love everything about Disney except this monorail. It's poorly run, only so fun for the children, and you will be shoved into a tight place with the sickest people you could find, which that's been fixed. So great. None of which have the energy to cover their mouth. From now on, our children whining, ignored. I'll be in line for a ferry if you need me. And I like taking the ferry at the end of the night because I kind of like to sit down and sometimes I lay on the floor of the ferry at the end of the night because I'm so exhausted. It may take longer, but at least I know jumping ship is an option when people next to me decide to overly share their influenza. Great. That was from February. That was from February 2019. So yeah, that's a fun one.
Oh my gosh. That's really funny. It's funny to see these classic things get hammered like that, where she's like, I love everything about Disney except this monorail.
And I'm going to tell you, she's sitting at home on her phone and she's thinking, I'm really angry right now. I need to vent.
Oh, that's in half the time people have had a few beers first, probably too. But
she's actually in the abracadabra.
Really funny. Exactly. I looked up the Haunted Mansion.
Oh.
I actually posted on my Facebook page this morning a review of the Haunted Mansion. The guy didn't like it because it was so dark. It was too dark. It just kept going on and on about how dark it was in there.
I liked my scary rides well lit. So.
And then another one I didn't post, but just the title of it just cracked me up. It was like, Disney has really dropped a bomb here or something like that. Like they were like, I can't believe Disney even made this ride. It's not scary at all. It's just like
1 star, not scary.
Yeah, that was the main. There's only like 9 1-stars on the Haunted Mansion, and like 5 of them are people saying it's not scary, you should go to Universal. So I don't know if Universal decided to like tell people to do that or what.
This is how I feel about people who review restaurants. It's like, who made you a food critic, right? It's like, who made you a haunted house critic?
How did this happen?
You're just not very good at it. I think most true haunted house critics would look at this and go, for what it is.
Right.
It is the true
It's
Disney.
not Halloween Horror Nights, guys.
It's not a Freddy Krueger movie, people.
Oh my God. All right. Well, should I bring up the this monster one that I sent you yesterday?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. So just everybody just sit back. Okay, so
I can probably
this
screen share that. Let me find it.
yeah, maybe you can screen share it. That would be great. So it's a review of Magic Kingdom. It's from, it's also from, oh, this is from February. And I think this is the one that mentions marathon weekend. So, yeah, so if you, yes, there it is right there. Okay, so let me just give you a little dramatic reading of this one. Maybe we'll stop as we go through. Okay, so yes, this says, money grab by Disney, not what Walt envisioned. I used to take my children to Disney every year, 1 year, 4 times when they were tots. They are 25 and 28 now. So this person hasn't probably not been to Disney in, 20 years.
Right.
Due to schedules, we haven't been in the same place at the same time for at least 10 years. We haven't had a family vacation in 10 years. We were all going to be in Orlando. So they were already going to, there's first red flag. They were already going to Orlando, and then they decided to do this. So that, it's not their main thing they're doing.
Right.
So we planned a trip to the Magic Kingdom. I purchased 4 one-day park tickets for $538. Park opens at 9 a.m. We were on the property at 8:15 a.m., but couldn't get to the parking lot due to a Disney-hosted marathon. The regular parking line, guys, this happened to me once a long time ago at Disneyland. We were staying and we didn't realize something like that was happening. This is one of those things that happens to you once and you learn, or you read a review like this and you learn from this person's mistake. Okay, so the regular parking line was at least 500 cars deep. We paid $100 for premium parking because we sat in the car trying to get into the parking lot until 10:56 a.m. We arrived on Main Street at 11:56 a.m. Fast Pass, you can reserve 3 and Disney staggers those for you. So I want to pause here for a second about this because what this person's describing, because they obviously bought their park ticket when they got there. Mm-hmm. So I think what they're describing is that Disney has a deal now where if you buy a one-day ticket, they'll just automatically give you 3 pre-registered fast passes. So at least you have something. So these guys had no clue about Fast Pass. So, okay, Fast Pass, you can reserve 3 and Disney staggers those for you. We had to rush to the first one scheduled at 12:25 p.m. The next one was at 3:30 and 5:30. You can request one more Fast Pass after you use the first 3. Guess what?
Guess what?
At 6 o'clock, there were no more Fast Passes available. Convenient, Sucker. Disney, really convenient. Fast Pass line was 20 minutes, which is no big deal. Waiting 45 minutes to order lunch in a line and then 20 minutes to receive the food. We stood holding our trays for 27 minutes, hoping to sit and eat. Lunch, $70. This person must be an accountant or something.
Right, or it reads kind of like a high school economics oral presentation, doesn't it?
And or a story problem in math, right. If Fast Pass is 20 minutes and you waited 45 minutes.
How many Fast Passes did you lose?
Yeah, so, okay, so just stopping for a moment. This is what mobile ordering is for. Right. Also, don't, pay attention to they got there at noon. They went on the ride at 12:25, so they were probably having lunch at 1, which is the most busiest time.
Yeah.
So nothing about this is planned right.
Right. If you go thinking that you can navigate this like you navigate your regular everyday life, You're gonna have a bad experience, right?
But it's Disney's fault.
You're fortunate you get to go with your daughter because she gets this. So when you say, let's wait to eat until later, she knows what you're talking about. You know, it took me a couple of trips to Disney with my family of 8 to convince my brother-in-law, well, let's just hold off. Just trust me. Look at the lines. We're going to come back around here later. Just trust me. And 45 minutes later, the lines are half as long. And he's like, now I get it.
And you pretty much eat at the same time then anyway, instead of waiting.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's see here. Every ride had a standby wait time of 170 minutes. That's
Every
more
ride.
than 2 hours for a 30-second experience.
Because every ride is 30 seconds long.
If you stand in that line, you miss your next Fast Pass. So we were only able to experience 3 rides. The park was so crowded that you could not even step to the side to take in the magic. Additionally, the amount of people driving it's the scooters.
Scooters.
Part.
Oh,
Okay.
I love the scooters.
Okay. Additionally, the amount of people driving scooters that have no disability is a crime. Disney has allowed people not to walk, but to drive through their parks.
They should have got a
Adults
scooter.
who are capable of walking are driving scooters and moving to the front of the lines. You will get your heels clipped by them since most of the people are driving scooters for the first time. A cast member divulged to us that Disney used to cap the capacity at 60,000 people and have bumped it up to 110,000 people in a single park in a single day.
I don't think I believe
is this
that.
right?
No.
How many?
I know from Lentesta that the Magic Kingdom has about a 90,000 capacity, but they try to keep it well under that when it's normal operating, right? Obviously now it's much less. But I think Epcot actually does have like a 110 capacity, but I think again they try to keep it well under that, just so that they don't find themselves in a situation where they have 110,000 people they've got to evacuate out of the park. I mean, they keep it like
Yeah, I mean,
10 or 20 below that.
I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure whatever day this was not a day that Magic Kingdom closed due to capacity.
No.
So I can at least confidently say that.
110,000 people.
That is a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
We're going to have to look that up. Well, I'll try to fact check that and come back and comment on that later. Okay, so let's see. I felt terrible for families with small children. They could not have enjoyed Disney the way my kids did years ago. I don't know. If I was there that day, I would have enjoyed it.
I probably would
But
have
I
a great
would have
time.
done this a lot different.
Yeah.
Dinner reservations were at 7:30. We were seated at 8:15 and missed the fireworks.
Oh, the fireworks.
No, and park closed at 9.
Oh, man.
Dinner was $356 for 4 people for a buffet, $994 for 3 rides and a buffet. We spent another $400 on merchandise. Why?
What?
They had this terrible day, and then they spent $400.
I can't take any more of this. Give me 40 mouse ears. No, it'd be like 20 mouse ears. But
$400 on merchandise, which was the only place that had no line. There are no lines in the stores because everyone is jammed up in 170-minute ride lines. Even the perky cast members I remember looked disheveled and exhausted. Oh, I bet they did by the time they encountered this person.
As a former cast member, I can attest to the fact that you see them coming.
Definitely. Yeah, and then they wrote Disney the very next day and was advised someone would call me. Crickets. I'm still waiting for that phone call. Oh, that cast member.
Crickets.
This all-day event that we spent 4 hours of it in our car was far from magical. Be our guest? Never again. I can think of $1,400 other ways to spend a day with my family and actually enjoy it. Would you like to reveal the tip at the bottom?
Tip. Bring a scooter.
Bring a scooter.
But make sure it's not your first day driving one. You want to make sure that you've thoroughly road tested the scooter and that you're not going to clip anybody's heels because it's your first day driving it. Not at Disney. Don't you do it. So is she saying that I'm never going back again, but you should, and you should bring a scooter?
No, I really like that touch, actually. That is the reason this is my featured. This is definitely getting on my Facebook page. This is my featured TripAdvisor review.
That's fantastic.
It's really great. Yeah, so there's just, you can have a really bad time at Disney, clearly, but then there's just this compounding of things here that just, there were a lot of bad choices made. So
I don't ever like to call people stupid, but if you're going to complain about spending money, why are you spending extra money on parking? Right? If you're going to complain about spending money, why are you spending the most money? You didn't have to eat at the buffet. You could have gone to the counter service and got hot dogs or corn dogs, right? You could have got something a lot more reasonably. If you're going to complain about price, don't spend $400 on merchandise. I love that, like, her one positive was that there weren't any lines at the shops. Oh, I'm so glad. It's, I'm not standing in another line for another ride. I'm going to go shopping. That's why they only rode 3 rides. God. They were all in the shops all day long. I feel bad for people like that. This is the reason why you and I do what we do. We want people to have a good time. We have a good time, right? Yeah. We have figured out this magic formula of going to the Disney parks, and whether it's a 1 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, and having a great day. Whether there's a marathon or a cheer event or it's New Year's Eve, we can go to Disney and we can have a good day. I think that the whole thing we're trying to express here is that people can learn from us in that. Go read these TripAdvisor reviews, and you can have a good day too if you're concerned or you've had a bad experience in the past and you're thinking, I don't know if I ever want to do that again. Well, you can go and have a good time. You just have to know how to set the expectation.
Exactly. Oh, no, Space Mountain.
Yeah, this was, they went in May of 2018, and they're just talking about, I'd give this a go, as I've ridden nearly every roller coaster in Florida and almost forgot to review this until someone reminded me. So, I forgot about that Space Mountain at Disney World. Yeah. Starts off okay with a fast launch, but that's it. The rest of the time it was in the dark. People love that about Space Mountain. There were so many twists and turns. Idea. There were so many twists and turns. I didn't understand why they would put that in a roller coaster. Twists and turns. Anyway, jerky movements. It is a little jerky. I find the one at Florida a little jerkier than the one in California. I think the one in California in recent years has had its track remodeled or remade. Mm-hmm. Now Matterhorn on another. That's a conversation for another day. Talk about jerky. Yeah. That was a rough ride. I never had time to prepare. I didn't have time to prepare myself. Like, I gotta get mentally set for the jerky twists and turns. An absolute nightmare. This is another thing. So in social media, one of the things I love about what I do is I look at people go to this complete extreme of you're horrible, you're the absolute worst. And it's like, we sell clothes for a living. How can we be the worst? I mean, or whatever it is. We sell hotel rooms for a living. Yeah. We're not that bad. We're really kind of nice people. But this is an absolute nightmare. No, that would be the Haunted Mansion across the street. From beginning to end. And when I came off of it, I had hurt my neck. And, I can kind of get that. But, don't let your head bounce all around while you're on the ride. For somebody that's ridden every roller coaster in Florida, right? Now, I know it warns you. It warns you. There's signs through the whole thing, right? This is a high-speed turbulent ride through space. If you're pregnant, don't ride because it's twisting and turning, and there's a lot of jerky stuff going on. Now, I've never ridden the Hulk or the Kraken, so I can't compare. But I imagine that they're new, so they're
the kind with the big thing over your shoulder. They're a totally different ride.
It's a totally different ride. Oh, yeah. Man. Should be condemned. Ride it at your peril, anyway. So, I mean, if you're gonna go to Disney World anytime in the future, get yourself a little bit of time away from all the noise and nonsense of life and read yourself some 1-star TripAdvisor reviews and have a good time, because we certainly have.
We certainly, you know what I just noticed, Joey, if you look over there, this review has actually got 52 thumbs up. We better give it another one for featuring it on here.
He's usually in the Magic Kingdom. How do I give it a thumbs up? I
think down there, I noticed below, you can click down there, think
Boom.
Disco. It's Disco King 1. Disco King 1.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so yes, this is a good way we're going to have to make this a recurring segment, I think.
We have a little more time, I think, over the next maybe 3 months. We can look up some really explosive ones and have some fun laughing. Because, I mean,
maybe we should, we could do Disneyland next or something.
That sounds great. I love that. I have Disneyland on here, but we're out of time. Yeah. 15,000 reviews for California Adventure. There's only 207 1-star reviews for California Adventure. I mean, you and I have been to California Adventure.
That's impressive.
People love to complain about California Adventure.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 10,000 5-star reviews. Who gets that? I mean,
nice.
And I like California Adventure, so I'm never going to give it a 1-star review, but I'm going to enjoy reading them later on when we do this again.
I know, exactly.
So for anybody that stumbles across this on the Disney Hacks Facebook page and is looking at it, I know you shared it on your page too, but why don't you go ahead and plug it so people can find you and seek you out for great advice, not just on Disney, but on the Caribbean, on Universal, on all the fun stuff that you do.
If you want some advice to go someplace fun, or maybe just dream about going someplace fun right now, you can find me on my website, which is goinform.net, on my podcast, the Go Inform podcast, and all over social media. Go Informed or Go Inform Net will get you there. And definitely, if you guys have any comments about this chat we've just had, put some comments over on the post, on the Facebook post where you see the video, because we love to hear your take on these things. And maybe if you have something you want to share, you've got a review you think we need to see, send it over to us.
Yeah, and if you had a bad experience, put it on TripAdvisor so we can laugh about it in the future.
Yeah.
That was a little mean. Sorry, but it was honest. So, well, that's going to do it this week. That was a ton of fun. I know we've got a lot of other fun topics coming in the future. So if you've enjoyed this, please stick around and join us for future Disney Hack Chats. For Sue, This is Joey. Have a great week.